In recent times, there has been growing concern about the number of matches footballers have to play in a season. With countless injuries affecting top players like Dani Carvajal, Rodri, Kobbie Mainoo and Bukayo Saka, many fans and even some players are calling for FIFA to reduce the number of games. But while this debate rages on, we need to ask, is reducing the number of matches really the best solution? Footballers are getting injured more frequently, especially with the packed schedule that many of them face. International breaks, club competitions, cup games, they all add up. Lately, players like Dani Carvajal and Rodri have struggled with injuries, while young talents like Kobbie Mainoo and Bukayo Saka are also sidelined due to the fatigue and overuse. These injuries raise the question, is the football schedule too demanding? But on the other hand, let's take a moment to compare footballers with everyday workers. Think about doctors, factory workers, or even delivery drivers. They work long hours every day, often with less pay, and sometimes under even more stressful conditions. They don't get the luxury of playing once or twice a week and resting between games. For footballers, playing a match every few days might seem tough. But in reality, they are paid astronomical amounts to do just that, play football. Footballers earn millions every year, and their job is singular: play well on the pitch. They train hard, no doubt, but they aren't doing manual labor or performing surgeries for 12 hours straight. A factory worker or a nurse doesn't earn a fraction of what a footballer does, and they work much more consistently. FIFA and many leagues have tough decisions to make. Should they reduce the number of games to protect players from injuries? If they do, should players also take a pay cut in line with fewer games? After all, fewer games mean less work, right? Or should players, as highly paid professionals, be expected to cope with the rigors of their job, just like every other worker in society? Some may argue that reducing games could result in better player performances and longer careers, but it's also important to recognize that footballers enjoy privileges that many don't. So why should they be exempt from the workload that other professionals face daily? Take for instance the recent case of Rodri, who played an intense schedule for Manchester City in Spain. With no real break, his body simply couldn't cope anymore. Then there's Bukayo Saka, one of the brightest young stars, who was forced out due to a muscle strain after a relentless season. And these are in isolated cases. Dani Carvajal and Kobbie Mainoo are just a few of the many examples of players getting injured across the board. In conclusion, while it's true that the football schedule might be exhausting and lead to injuries, we have to balance the conversation. These athletes are compensated handsomely for their work, and they play fewer days in a year than many workers who earn far less. Should FIFA reduce the number of games, or is it time for players to push through, giving the rewards they receive? What do you think? Should players be paid less and have fewer games, or should they adapt to the demands of the modern game? Let me know in the comments what you think about this situation. Should FIFA protect the players, or are they already privileged enough to handle the load?